The other day, I stopped to read an article about Frosty Westering, who was the head football coach at Pacific Lutheran for 32 years, won 4 national titles, and died this past Friday. The article was one that I started reading not really knowing anything about him and couldn't stop reading it. And it's on a site called sportsonearth.com, and it's also on my Twitter feed at footballinfo, where I retweeted it there. It's an article about somebody that I knew nothing about. I knew a little bit about Pacific Lutheran, but not much. And starting to read about this person and read the things that he had done as a football coach that were unrelated to scheme. And it's really impressive. If you haven't seen anything about him, against Frosty Westering, it's definitely somebody that you should look up more information on, and I will be too. One of the things that got me thinking about, though, was coaches that I hear from who are so arrogant in thinking that they have it all figured out as far as scheme. They think that there's a certain scheme that is the answer to everything. It's the 3-5 defense, or it's the double wing offense, or whatever. And it's something that they have figured out. And I hear guys in clinics sometimes, in the back of a clinic talking about, well, he'd never be able to run that against us. He's got rings on his finger that say that he can. I think that we have to understand as coaches that there is a right way to do things as a person at your place. At your particular situation, there is a certain right way, and probably more than one, and probably many different ways, that are the right way for your specific situation. The way that Frosty Westering did things at Pacific Lutheran may have been the right way there, and I love it, and I want to learn more about it. That may not be the right way at your specific situation, and the way that you handle things in your current situation may not be the right way in another place. That goes with scheme as well. There's a right thing for you to do and for you to do with your players, and a right thing for another coach to do, but there's not a single right way. It bothers me that there are coaches who don't understand this, and I think it's typical of young coaches to be particularly arrogant when you learn a few things and have some success early. I think it's also unfortunate that coaches sometimes will look at a coach who's doing something that they may not agree with and say, well, we could never do that because we don't have his players. Again, specific situation, specific scheme works with certain people, specific coaching philosophy works with certain people. I think that we as coaches, and I'm guilty of it as much as anybody, get too arrogant in thinking that we have all the answers, or that there is an answer out there, a specific single answer. One of the things about being a football coach is that ego is a part of it. I don't know that you can be really, really good at this job without having a little bit of an ego. I think there's a few guys who have been very successful and their ego may not be as big as some of ours, but I think in general we have to go out there with the confidence that we know what we're doing, that what we're doing is going to work, because we have to instill that confidence in our players. And if we don't have it, there's no way that we're going to have success. And that leads to us having a bit of an ego. But one of the things that this article and reading about this person really got me thinking about was there's not a specific right way. This was a person who won 4 national titles, never had a losing season in 32 seasons, and his legacy has absolutely nothing to do with his scheme. I don't know what he ran. I don't know what he ran on offense, and I don't know what he ran on defense. I'll look it up and I'll find out, but for the time being, I really don't care. I don't think there's many people that did things the way that he did it. Talking about the way that he would have his players clean up when they left an airplane or when they left a dining hall, because they wanted to make sure that the people who were responsible, the custodians, the janitors, could get home early. The way that he would have his players thank the flight crew when they left the plane. The way that he would stop practice to look at the mountains nearby. The way that he would stop practice to have his players go help the freshmen move in August. These are different ways of doing things. They're not things that everybody does. And they may not be right for your specific situation, but they have nothing to do with X's and O's. This is a sport that's going to have a lot of people in it with big egos, but I think we have to guard against the arrogance of thinking that we know the right way.